Have you ever felt like someone you're close to and used to click with now feels distant, like you're speaking two completely different languages, even though nothing big happened? Maybe it's your best friend, a sibling, or even your partner. You still care deeply about them, but something's just different. If you're going through that right now, I want you to know there's nothing wrong with you. You're actually growing, and yes, it hurts, but it's also a powerful sign that your energy is evolving. In this video, we're diving deep into the pain of spiritually outgrowing people, what it really means, how to navigate it with love, and why this emotional ache is actually a sacred milestone on your soul's journey. Let's get started. When there's a shift in your inner world, your beliefs, your boundaries, and your vibration, it's only natural for your external world to start shifting too. Energy doesn't lie, and the people in your life either resonate with your current frequency or they don't. Imagine your soul is tuning into a new radio station. You used to vibe on Fear FM, full of drama, complaining, and victim stories. But now you started tuning into Empowerment 101, which is all about healing, growth, and truth. So what happens to the people still stuck on Fear FM? Well, since they're on a different frequency than you are, they can't hear your new song anymore. And that's not personal, it's energetic. You're not judging them, and they're not judging you. You're just no longer a match. This is the hard part, the crossroads, because part of you wants to stay out of love, loyalty, or fear, and another part of you knows deep down the connection is dimming. So how do you know when it's time to let go? You can start by asking yourself, am I shrinking to make this relationship work? Do I feel drained, unseen, or silenced around this person? And is this connection built on who I was and not who I'm becoming? If the answer is yes to any of these questions, it might be time to loosen the grip. Letting go doesn't mean abandoning people. It means releasing the energetic contract that's no longer serving either of you. Think of it like clothes that no longer fit. You can keep wearing them out of habit, or you can honor your growth and find something that fits and feels like you right now. Here's where people get stuck. The guilt. What if they need me? What if I'm being selfish? What if they think I've changed? Guess what? You have changed, and that's the point. You're not responsible for shrinking your light so others don't feel uncomfortable. Real love honors growth. Real connections expand as you evolve, not demand that you stay the same. Here's how to let go with grace, not guilt. Bless them energetically. Say thank you for what you gave me. I release you with love. Set boundaries that protect your peace, even if they don't understand right now. Stay open. Some people do come back, but from a higher frequency. Letting go of someone isn't just for you, it's also for them. Think of it this way. Everyone is on their own path and has their own journey. How you grow isn't necessarily the way they will. And you staying on their path might actually be stopping them from exploring and expanding on theirs. So don't think it's all about you and how you might feel guilty about abandoning them. You may not be giving them enough credit for what they're capable of achieving when you give them a chance. Now let's talk about one of the hardest scenarios. What if the person you've outgrown isn't someone you can just cut ties with? Maybe it's a parent you still care for, a sibling who's in your life whether you like it or not. Maybe it's a partner you share a home with, or a child's other parent you have to co-navigate life with. In these cases, the answer isn't as simple as just walk away. The spiritual path isn't always about clean exits. Sometimes it's about messy, sacred boundaries in the middle of the chaos. But even here, you can protect your energy. You can preserve your inner peace without severing the relationship entirely. This is where energetic boundaries become your absolute best friend. And here's what this can look like. Just because you're growing doesn't mean you have to report every insight like it's a press release. You don't have to explain your every revelation, prove your spiritual growth, or drag someone along your healing path, especially if they don't want to be there. That doesn't create connection. It creates pressure and eventually resentment. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply live the shift. Let your evolution speak through your energy, not your words. You're not here to be their guru. You're here to be your most aligned self. And if they're meant to rise, they'll feel that shift in your presence, not your preaching. Stop expecting a 3D relationship to offer 5D nourishment. If someone can only meet you at the surface, don't keep diving and hope they'll follow. Accept where they're at. This isn't judgment, it's energetic accuracy. And let's be very clear. Being in deeper waters doesn't make you better than someone who's still swimming in the shallow end. It just means you're at different places in your journey, with different frequencies, different lessons, and different soul timing. Trying to force depth from someone who hasn't built the capacity for it is like trying to plant seeds in frozen ground. It's just not going to grow. And it's not personal, it's seasonal. So stop fishing for emotional or spiritual depth where it simply isn't available. Instead, meet people where they are with compassion, not expectation. Connect in ways that are available without expecting more than they can offer. This is the ultimate energetic skill, being so rooted in your own field that someone else's chaos no longer pulls you out of alignment. Think of it like building an energetic immune system. You don't need to absorb their projections. You don't need to fix their pain. You don't even need to correct their misperceptions about you. You simply stay anchored in your truth. Let's say your partner is stuck in blame mode or keeps repeating old cycles while you're doing the inner work. Instead of trying to pull them up, you pour into yourself. You regulate your own nervous system. You tend to your own energy. You come back to your own alignment. And this is when something powerful really happens. You stop reacting. You stop over-explaining. You stop being energetically hooked. You become a calm, grounded presence. Not because everything is peaceful outside, but because you've cultivated peace within. That's not avoidance, it's spiritual mastery. In these types of relationships, you may not be able to physically walk away, but you can absolutely walk away from the emotional overfunctioning, the constant spiritual babysitting, and the expectation that someone else's healing is your responsibility, because it's not. Your job is to hold your light, and sometimes that's exactly what sparks their own awakening. And if they don't change, at least you did, and you're showing up from a place of aligned integrity. The bottom line is, you don't have to choose between your growth and your relationships, but you do have to stop expecting people to meet you at a frequency they haven't tuned into. Meet them where they are, but don't live there. Love them from your highest self, but don't lose yourself. Sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is stop expecting spiritual behavior from people who aren't on that path. Let's zoom out. This isn't about outgrowing individuals. Sometimes your growth will create friction with entire environments. You might wake up one day and realize your job feels soulless. Your spiritual group now feels uninspiring. The community you once leaned on now feels like it's holding you back instead of lifting you up. And that can feel really confusing because these are places that once served a purpose. But here's the truth. Just because something was aligned once doesn't mean it's meant to stay forever. Let's understand why this happens energetically. When you shift frequencies, environments that once matched your vibration now feel incompatible. It's like playing a new song through an old speaker. It just doesn't sound right anymore. And here's the kicker. Outgrowing groups can feel more disorienting than outgrowing people because we attach our identity to those places. But the soul doesn't care about your title, your tribe, or how long you've been there. It cares about truth, alignment, and evolution. So here's what to do when you think this may be happening to you. Pause and reflect. Is this space still nourishing you? Are you staying out of obligation or fear of starting over? Don't make yourself wrong. Honor that this group served you, and also that your time may be done. Create spacious exits. You don't have to burn bridges. Just start walking your own path, quietly and clearly, because sometimes your next level requires solitude before community, and this means clearing the noise so you can hear your own frequency again. It's natural to see this as a loss, but energetically, this is a rebirth. You're not just losing people, you're releasing what no longer aligns. You're making space for soul-aligned friendships, deep conscious love, conversations that light you up instead of drain you, and energy exchanges that expand you, not shrink you. Pain is part of this process, but pain isn't the enemy. It's a signal. It tells you growth is happening, that change is necessary. Just like a seed cracks open to grow, you're being expanded. Suffering only begins when you resist that truth, when you cling to old stories, old versions, or old attachments. So if you feel lonely, disconnected, or somewhere in between, it means you're in transition. So trust the process. Your frequency is upgrading, and not everyone is meant to come along with you. And that's not something to feel bad about. That's something to feel proud of. Here's something a lot of people miss. Outgrowing people, places, and communities isn't random. It's part of your spiritual curriculum. Every uncomfortable shift, every goodbye you didn't want to say, every space that suddenly felt too small, it's all part of the same message. You're being called to expand. Growth isn't always comfortable, but it's always intentional. You didn't come here to plateau. You came here to grow, to experience, to learn, and to evolve your soul through contrast. That job, that relationship, that community, they served their purpose. They helped you heal, learn, stabilize, or remember your power. But at some point, what once fed you can start to hold you back. And when that happens, the universe starts gently nudging you forward. And what happens when you ignore the nudge? The volume gets louder. And if you're still not listening, you get pushed, and this gets stronger and stronger until you get the message. So that friction you feel, that I don't belong here anymore energy, that's not failure, it's evolution in action. Think of it like this. You're a plant that's outgrown its pot. It's not that the soil was bad. It's not that the pot was wrong. It's just, you need more space now. Staying in that cramped container, well, that's comfort. But transplanting into a bigger pot, that's growth. And yes, it might be messy at first. You might feel exposed, uprooted, and alone. But give it time and you'll realize that empty space is where your next level takes root. So if you're feeling the ache of disconnection, the sting of misalignment, or the fog of not knowing what's next, pause, breathe, and ask yourself, am I being called to expand? Because the soul never wants you to stay stuck. It wants you to keep discovering, expressing, and becoming the fullest version of who you are. If you've been feeling distant from people you once felt close to, if you've started questioning whether you're the problem, let me remind you, you're not being cold, you're not abandoning anyone, and you're certainly not selfish. What's happening here is this. You're evolving, and the truth is, not everyone is meant to grow with you. You're not pushing people away, you're being pulled by something greater. You're following your soul's call into a deeper truth, more aligned relationships, and a version of yourself that doesn't require you to shrink in order to belong. We don't talk enough about how lonely it can feel, about how painful it is to realize the people you love can't meet you where you are anymore. But here's the truth. You're not broken for outgrowing people. You're breaking through. You're shifting out of survival, old patterns and small containers, and stepping into a life that actually matches your frequency. So yes, it's hard. Yes, you'll question yourself. Yes, the path might feel quiet at first, but on the other side of that ache is alignment. Connection that doesn't require shrinking. Love that doesn't demand self-betrayal. And friendships where you can breathe deeply and finally be all of you. Let this be your reminder. Just because someone was part of your past doesn't mean they're part of your path forward. So keep walking and keep rising. Don't you dare dim your light just to stay in a room you've already outgrown. Because every time you choose alignment over attachment, you make space for the soul-aligned people and places that are waiting to meet the real you. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, you need to watch one of my related videos, especially if you're navigating toxic relationships or are feeling stuck in old cycles. Until next time, take care, keep shining your light, and always stay inspired.